Mike asks about practice routines, and well, I think practice routines really depends. Um, I think the best thing to do practicing is to practice on your weak areas. Spend as much time as you can there, but don't completely ignore the things that you already do well too. So you need a certain amount of practice. Practice. I don't think you should be practicing a lot before you go out and play. I mean, Sam Snead's classic quote: "Dance with the gal you brought." So take what you have that day. And as long as you can create a repeating shot pattern out on the golf course, then you should be able to get the ball around okay and play pretty good golf if you have a repeating shot pattern. If you're just hitting a little 5-yard draw all day or 10-yard cut all day, and you just do that every time, you should be able to get around the course and be okay. My personal experience being when I was younger, I was a ball beater. I'd hit 2 milk carton crates a day on the range with Ben Doyle or Greg McHatton and hitting 500 golf balls a day. It has a certain amount of value, I suppose, doing that. But I think that the muscles in the body don't really care that much whether you're hitting a ball or hitting say, an impact bag like I have over here. I mean, I'm trying to train my muscles to do something, and to be hitting hundreds or thousands of golf balls and having to watch poor shot after poor shot while I'm working on something, I don't feel like it's mentally or psychologically that good. I'd rather work on the form, work on the muscle group in the area, do drills and just work on something specific until I really get that. Drop a ball or two, try it out, look at the flight, go, oh, okay, wow, I saw a difference there. That's good, I'm heading in the right direction. Or if I continue to hit it bad, learn from that and say, okay, I got to go back and recorrect. It's a broad term, practice, something you need to do at some point. I mean, every great golfer has done a lot of practice. I think Gary Player had that great quote, you have to, hit a million golf balls to become a natural golfer, something along those lines. You have to practice really hard or something to become a natural. In my experience playing on tour, the guys that I was most impressed with were the guys that didn't really practice, because there'd be guys that just didn't really practice much. They get done with their round, they'd go in and have lunch or go have a beer or something, and then maybe they'd go out and hit a couple balls or something, but they weren't out there grinding. I was practicing too much early on because I don't think I had great technique. I had a swinger's release and I was having to hit lots of balls and timing, all that stuff. It wasn't until I learned better technique and switched from a swinger to a hitter, then I didn't have to practice as much. I did my practicing when I was at home and that sort of weeks off, but not at the tournament. Especially if you're a touring pro and you're traveling on the road all the time, it's a long week. I mean, you really don't. If you're making cuts, you don't really have a day off. You're traveling on Monday, so you're in a car all day or on airports and planes or whatever, hotels and rented cars and all that stuff. It's a long day. Nobody likes that day very much. Tuesday, you're at the course, working on maybe practicing some things that you had a problem with the week before out on the range, and then you're charting the golf course and trying to figure out how you're going to play the golf course, taking your yardages. Back then we often, I checked my yardages, and somebody would have a book, and then I'd double check things. So, and I used to like to walk the course backwards so that I could see the green and where the problem areas were around the green, and look back in the fairway. Like the first time that I'm seeing a golf course, I would look down the fairway and say, okay, if the pin's over here, I'm really better over here. If the pin's over here, I should be over there. And then, looking at the depth of the green, do I want to come in with a short iron or a longer iron, or where do I, all that strategic stuff. I felt like I was better walking the course backwards and then taking notes from there. Not everybody did that, but I found that to be very helpful and probably gave me a little bit of an advantage at times doing that. So that's part of the practice. And then Wednesday, you're playing in a Pro-Am. So, you're spending a lot of time with the sponsors, members of the course, and being nice to them, and you have a Pro-Am dinner that night and all that. So that's a golf day, and then, you're playing Thursday, competitive round Thursday, Friday, make the cut, you play Saturday, Sunday, rinse and repeat, Monday, travel to, so really my point here is that as a professional, I try and limit practice. I try to not burn myself out and I felt it was a big advantage to have good technique. So the better my technique was, the less I had to actually practice. You need a little bit of practice. There's a difference between warming up and then practicing. You know, warming up, yes. I mean, to me, warming up is stretching, doing you know, a lot of, you know, stretching, really making sure my rotation is there, making sure my legs are, you know, in good shape, and that I feel like I'm strong there. Rotation, stretching, you know, hamstrings, stretching. Those are all really good things. Once the body is stretched out and in good shape, feeling good, then give me a golf club, and then, you know, I can go ahead and start hitting some shots. I don't want to hit too many shots. One of the interesting things that happened, I think it was the 1960 PGA Championship, 62, somewhere in there. Bob Rosberg never hit a range ball before he played. He just went to the first tee. I'm sure he stretched, but he just teed up and won the tournament, won the PGA Championship without hitting any balls before he played. And I did basically the same thing in the TRGA event in Las Vegas, and I won that tournament, and I only hit one ball before I played. I just wanted to see what my tendency was for the day. So first hole was a driver. I teed up a ball in the range with a driver. I hit it, like, oh, kind of missed it a little right. That's like the mulligan, so that, you know, when you drop that second ball, it's like, oh, you're going to correct and conspire to do something a little bit different. So I knew I had to be, you know, if I missed the first shot a little bit right, the second one I'm going to get a little more aggressive with my torso rotation and hold a little more wrist cock going through the strike. And that second ball I'm going to get, you know, a little more aggressive, and boom, there it is. So I just did that. Hit one ball and went out and won the tournament by 7 shots. So can that be done? Yes, of course it can be done. And this way, on the range, you know, there were times when I'd be hitting the ball great on the range before I'd tee off. My caddy's like, oh, you're really hitting it good today. You get up on the first tee, I just hit it right in the weeds or something, and it's like, gee, what happened, you know? Your caddy's like, gee, what happened there, John? You know, I got some doubt going through my head. Yeah, what's going on? You know, walking down the first fairway with, gee, what happened? I have doubt in my head. I don't think that's good. If I took the opposite situation and I were to say, I'm on the range and I'm hitting it really bad. So I go to the first tee thinking really negatively, like, gee, I'm just not hitting it good today, you know? And then if you hit your first shot and you hit it bad, you know, you're kind of reinforcing that. So I kind of ended up feeling like, I don't want to know. I don't really want to know what I have until I get out on the course. I want to be loose. I want to have done some warming up, stretching, and maybe do some drills or something. I hit one ball, and just to kind of like the mulligan, like, oh, there's that first ball. If I hit it good, then good. Take that same feeling to the first tee and go. So it's just a different approach. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't roll a few putts to get a feel for the speed of the greens, something like that, but as far as a swing, so again, this is all like practicing stuff. Kind of a, you know, little outlier opinions on that. I don't think, you know, you need to beat a lot of balls before you play. Get loose, get stretched, hit a couple shots, and get out there. I don't really want to know how I'm going to do. I don't want to set any kind of limits on myself. Gee, I feel like I'm going to play bad today, or I feel like I'm going to play good. I like the idea of not knowing how I'm going to play. You know, just go out there and just see what happens. Find out on the course. So again, create a repeating shot pattern. This is what I'm kind of doing today. Play and work with that. So that's some thoughts on practicing. See you at the next question.